There is a kind of foolishness more dangerous than ignorance. It is the rejection of wisdom itself. A woman can have beauty, intelligence, and influence, yet still walk a path of destruction simply because she refuses to embrace wisdom. In today's world, too many people glorify things that have no lasting value. Women are taught to chase after beauty, attention, and status. But what good is all of that if wisdom is absent? A woman can have everything the world admires, but if she lacks understanding, she will make choices that bring pain, regret, and even destruction. The difference between a wise woman and a foolish one is not what they own, but how they choose to live. A foolish woman ignores the signs of destruction until it is too late. But today I will reveal 6 signs of a woman walking in foolishness. If you recognize these signs in yourself or someone you love, do not ignore them, because the cost of foolishness is always too high. Stay with me until the end, because wisdom has the power to change lives, and it may just change yours today. A foolish woman despises correction. When she is warned about a dangerous path, she mocks it. When she is given wise counsel, she ignores it. The Bible says in Proverbs 1:7, "Fools despise wisdom and instruction. A wise woman listens, learns, and grows. But a foolish woman believes she already knows everything." She refuses to take advice and becomes blind to her own downfall. Wisdom is available to all who seek it, but a foolish woman refuses to listen, and that is why she falls. A foolish woman allows her emotions to control her rather than using wisdom to control her emotions. She makes impulsive decisions, reacting in anger, jealousy, or desperation, and later suffers the consequences. One moment she loves, the next she hates. One moment she is building, the next she is tearing down. A wise woman understands that emotions are powerful, but they must be guided by wisdom, not impulsive reactions. A foolish woman speaks without thinking, acts without considering, and later regrets the destruction she has caused. But wisdom teaches restraint, patience, and discernment. A foolish woman tears down her own house with her words and action. She disrespects those who love her, manipulates relationships, and dishonors the people around her. Proverbs 14:01 says, "The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish one pulls it down with her own hands." Respect is a foundation of strong relationships, but a foolish woman destroys what should be cherished. Instead of nurturing love, she fosters conflict. Instead of speaking life, she speaks destruction. A wise woman understands the power of respect. She knows that a strong relationship is built on trust, honor, and selflessness. But a foolish woman pushes away those who care for her, thinking she can do it all alone. A foolish woman values beauty over wisdom, popularity over integrity. She spends time perfecting her outward appearance, but neglects the condition of her heart. The world praises outer beauty, but God sees the heart. A woman who chases attention and admiration may gain temporary approval, but if she lacks character, she will be left empty. Proverbs 31:30 says, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." A wise woman focuses on what is eternal, her faith, her values, her purpose. A foolish woman is distracted by things that will fade away. A foolish woman uses her words not to build but to destroy. She spreads rumors, stirs up conflict, and brings division instead of peace. Proverbs 10:19 warns us, "Sin is not ended by multiplying words, but the prudent hold their tongues." A foolish woman does not control her tongue, and her words bring harm to others. Instead of speaking life, she speaks poison. Instead of lifting people up, she tears them down. A wise woman understands the power of words. She chooses to speak encouragement, truth, and wisdom, knowing that what she says can shape the lives of those around her. The most dangerous thing a woman can do is to live without purpose. to chase the world while ignoring the call of God. A foolish woman fills her life with distractions, but never seeks what truly matters. She is too busy chasing approval, money, and temporary pleasure to ask herself, why am I here? What is my purpose? She does not seek wisdom, does not pray for direction, and does not live with eternity in mind. Proverbs 9:10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." A wise woman understands that life is more than what the world offers. She seeks truth, she seeks purpose, and she walks in wisdom. A foolish woman ignores these things, thinking she has all the time in the world. But time is not guaranteed. A foolish woman is not doomed, she is only lost. But wisdom is calling out. Every woman has a choice to walk the road of wisdom or the path of foolishness. Today you must ask yourself, do you recognize any of these signs? Do not ignore them. Wisdom is knocking on the door of your heart, asking you to choose a better way. A wise woman listens, learns, and grows. A foolish woman refuses, and she suffers the consequence. Which one will you choose? A foolish woman despises correction. When she is warned about a dangerous path, she mocks it. When she is given wise counsel, she ignores it. The Bible says in Proverbs 1:7, "Fools despise wisdom and instruction." This rejection of wisdom is not just a small mistake. It is the foundation of a destructive life. A woman who refuses correction closes the door to growth, to change, and to the very opportunities that could have saved her from hardship. She believes that she already knows everything, that no one can tell her anything she hasn't already figured out. This arrogance blinds her to the reality of her choices. She walks a path that others have walked before her, yet she refuses to look at the ruins left behind by those who made the same mistakes. Wisdom does not come automatically. It is received through humility, through listening, and through a willingness to change. But a foolish woman rejects correction because she sees it as an attack rather than a gift. She does not realize that those who correct her are often the ones who love her the most. A parent who warns her against reckless living, a mentor who advises her to change direction, or a friend who tells her the truth. These people are not her enemies. They are trying to protect her from harm. But the foolish woman turns against them, believing they are trying to control her or judge her. In her pride, she pushes away those who care, surrounding herself with people who tell her only what she wants to hear. She seeks validation instead of truth, comfort instead of growth. And because of this, she makes the same mistakes over and over again, each time blaming others for the consequences. A woman who rejects correction often finds herself in a cycle of brokenness. She enters into relationships that are harmful, but when warned, she refuses to listen. She makes impulsive financial decisions, ignoring the advice of those who have experience. She behaves recklessly, assuming that somehow she will escape the consequences that others have faced. And when things fall apart, she plays the victim, refusing to take responsibility. She blames the world, her circumstances, and even God, but she never stops to ask herself if her own refusal to listen has led her to this place. Correction is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. A wise woman understands that when someone offers guidance, it is an opportunity to improve. She does not view correction as an insult, but as a chance to avoid mistakes before they happen. A foolish woman, however, resents it. She will fight against wisdom, sometimes to the point of her own destruction. She will hold on to her pride, even as everything around her collapses. She may convince herself that she is independent, that she does not need advice, but in truth she is isolating herself from the very people who could help her succeed. Her downfall is not because she lacked intelligence, beauty, or potential. It is because she refused to accept wisdom when it was given to her. A foolish woman allows her emotions to control her rather than using wisdom to control her emotions. She is guided by fleeting feelings instead of sound judgment. One moment she is filled with love, the next she is consumed by hatred. One moment she is building, the next she is tearing down. This lack of emotional stability causes chaos not only in her own life, but in the lives of those around her. When emotions rule over reason, decisions are made in haste, words are spoken carelessly, and relationships suffer because of unnecessary conflict. Instead of pausing to think, she reacts instantly, allowing anger, jealousy, or insecurity to dictate her actions. Wisdom, on the other hand, teaches restraint, patience, and discernment. A wise woman understands that emotions are powerful, but they must be guided by truth rather than impulse. A foolish woman does not take the time to process situations before reacting. If she feels disrespected, she lashes out without considering the consequences of her words. If she feels slighted, she harbors resentment instead of seeking understanding. If she desires something, she pursues it recklessly, even if it brings harm to herself or others. She does not ask herself if her feelings are justified, nor does she seek wise counsel before making decisions. Instead, she lets her emotions lead, often walking straight into regret. A woman ruled by emotions cannot be trusted because her actions are unpredictable. One day she may be kind and generous, but the next she may be spiteful and cruel simply because of how she feels in the moment. This instability creates tension in her relationships, causing people to walk on eggshells around her, never knowing what version of her they will encounter. Her emotions often lead her into destructive situations. If she feels lonely, she may seek comfort in the wrong people, ignoring clear warning signs. If she feels insecure, she may compare herself to others and fall into jealousy, gossip, or competition. If she feels unappreciated, she may act out in ways that damage her reputation and dignity. Because she does not take control of her emotions, they take control of her, pushing her into decisions that she will later regret. The problem is not that she has emotions, everyone does, but that she does not master them. A wise woman acknowledges her feelings, but does not let them dictate her choices. She understands that emotions are temporary, but the consequences of emotional decisions can be permanent. When emotions drive a woman instead of wisdom, she may feel powerful in the moment, but in reality, she is weak. True strength is found in self-control. Proverbs 16:32 says, "Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city." A foolish woman believes she is strong because she expresses every emotion without restraint. But true strength is in the ability to hold back, to think before speaking, and to choose wisdom over impulse. Without this, she will continue to make the same mistakes, repeating the cycle of emotional chaos and regret. A foolish woman is drawn to vanity and superficiality, placing more value on outward appearance than on the depth of her character. She is obsessed with being noticed, admired, and praised for how she looks, what she owns, and how others perceive her. Instead of investing in wisdom, kindness, and integrity, she spends all her time and energy crafting an image. Her beauty may turn heads, but it does not build lasting respect. The Bible warns against this kind of emptiness in Proverbs 31:30. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Yet the foolish woman ignores this truth, believing that if she can just look better, dress better, or impress others more, she will find happiness and fulfillment. But this pursuit leads only to emptiness. She constantly compares herself to other women, competing in a race that has no finish line. She is never satisfied because there will always be someone younger, prettier, or more admired. This comparison steals her joy and turns her heart toward envy. She seeks validation through compliments, social media attention, or the admiration of men, but none of it truly satisfies her soul. She may gain temporary confidence when she is praised, but the moment the attention fades, so does her sense of worth. Because her confidence is built on something that does not last, she lives in constant insecurity, always chasing the next thing that will make her feel valuable. A woman focused on vanity often neglects the more important aspects of her life. She may spend hours perfecting her outward appearance, but little time developing her mind or deepening her relationship with God. She prioritizes social status over character, choosing to be associated with those who make her look good rather than those who genuinely care about her well-being. She values the approval of strangers over the trust and love of those closest to her. Her decisions are not guided by wisdom, but by what will make her feel important in the moment. Because of this, she becomes shallow, unable to offer anything meaningful to the world around her. She does not realize that the very things she seeks, love, respect, and fulfillment, cannot be gained through beauty or status alone. A truly valuable woman is not one who is admired for how she looks, but one who is honored for how she lives. A woman who is wise invests in things that last. She seeks knowledge, grows in faith, and builds relationships based on honesty and kindness. She does not waste time chasing trends or trying to impress those who do not matter. Her worth is not determined by how she appears, but by the impact she has on those around her. A foolish woman, however, never reaches this understanding. She continues to chase after vanity, never realizing that real value comes not from how she looks in the mirror, but from who she is in the depths of her soul. A foolish woman surrounds herself with toxic influences, refusing to discern between good and bad company. She does not understand that the people she allows into her life shape her mindset, her decisions, and ultimately her future. Proverbs 13:20 warns, "Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm." But she ignores this wisdom, believing she is immune to the effects of bad company. She keeps friendships that encourage drama, gossip, and negativity. She entertains relationships that do not challenge her to grow, but instead pull her into destructive cycles. She listens to the advice of those who lack wisdom, taking counsel from people who have no real direction in life. She is easily swayed by popular opinions and influenced by those who do not have her best interest at heart. Instead of seeking friendships that uplift and inspire, she clings to those who reinforce her worst habits. If she surrounds herself with people who lack ambition, she too will become lazy and unmotivated. If she spends time with those who gossip and tear others down, she will develop the same toxic tendencies. If she keeps company with the reckless, she will find herself in trouble. She does not take seriously the warning that bad company corrupts good character. She assumes she can stay the same while walking with those who live carelessly, but over time, their words, their attitudes, and their behaviors begin to shape her, often without her even realizing it. A woman who does not choose her influences wisely will eventually make decisions she never intended to make. She will lower her standards, excuse behavior she once condemned, and drift further from wisdom. The people she spends the most time with will determine the direction of her life. If she walks with the foolish, she will suffer the consequences of their choices. Even if she believes she is only an observer, she does not see that her environment plays a powerful role in shaping her future. She is blind to the fact that every conversation, every influence, every relationship is either building her up or tearing her down. She also fails to recognize when a relationship is harmful. Even when the warning signs are clear, she refuses to walk away. She makes excuses for toxic friendships, holding on to people who only bring drama and chaos. She stays connected to those who betray her trust, assuming things will eventually change. She ignores the discomfort she feels when she is around certain people, convincing herself that she must tolerate their negativity. But in doing so, she allows their influence to shape her, pulling her further from the woman she was meant to be. A wise woman guards her heart by guarding her company. She understands that who she walks with determines the direction of her steps. She seeks friendships that encourage growth, relationships that bring peace, and influences that push her toward wisdom. But a foolish woman never stops to evaluate her circle. She does not realize that by keeping the wrong company, she is choosing the wrong path. A foolish woman refuses to take responsibility for her actions, always blaming others for her failures and mistakes. She lives in a constant state of denial, never acknowledging the role she plays in her own struggles. Instead of looking inward and seeking self-improvement, she points fingers at those around her. If she faces difficulties in her relationships, she claims others are the problem. If she struggles financially, she blames the system rather than her own choices. If she experiences setbacks, she insists that life is unfair rather than reflecting on how she might have contributed to her situation. This unwillingness to take responsibility keeps her trapped in the same destructive patterns, never growing, never learning, and never truly changing. She sees herself as a victim in every situation. Rather than admitting when she is wrong, she justifies her actions and shifts the blame onto others. If she is confronted with the truth, she becomes defensive, making excuses rather than accepting correction. She avoids accountability because she does not want to face the discomfort of growth. But by rejecting responsibility, she also rejects the opportunity to become better. She remains stuck in cycles of bad decisions, repeating the same mistakes because she refuses to learn from them. A wise woman, on the other hand, understands that growth requires self-reflection. She knows that true strength comes from admitting faults and making changes. A woman who refuses to take responsibility will sabotage her relationships. People will grow tired of dealing with someone who never admits when she is wrong. She will push away those who try to help her, mistaking constructive criticism for personal attacks. Instead of valuing honesty, she surrounds herself with people who enable her excuses. She may even manipulate others into feeling guilty for holding her accountable. Over time, this behavior creates distance in her relationships, leaving her isolated because no one wants to deal with constant blame shifting and denial. This mindset also affects her ability to succeed in life. Instead of recognizing areas where she needs to improve, she convinces herself that she is always right. She does not take advice, she does not seek wisdom, and she resents those who try to correct her. When she fails, she refuses to acknowledge her role in the failure. This keeps her from making necessary changes, and so she continues to fall into the same traps over and over again. She does not understand that accountability is the foundation of growth. Without it, she will never reach her full potential. Her unwillingness to take responsibility also leads to a lack of respect. People do not trust a person who refuses to own up to their mistakes. They may tolerate her for a while, but eventually they will distance themselves from her. Employers will hesitate to promote her, friends will hesitate to confide in her, and loved ones will hesitate to depend on her. A wise woman understands that admitting faults is not a sign of weakness but of strength. But a foolish woman will continue living in denial, never realizing that by refusing to take responsibility, she is choosing to remain stagnant. A foolish woman ignores wisdom and refuses to learn. She is given advice but rejects it, shown the truth but denies it, and offered knowledge but disregards it. She believes she already knows enough, so she sees no need to listen. Proverbs 1:7 warns, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." Yet she remains stubborn, unwilling to admit that she has room to grow. She surrounds herself with people who tell her what she wants to hear instead of those who challenge her to be better. She resists correction because it makes her uncomfortable, choosing instead to stay in the false comfort of ignorance. This refusal to learn makes her blind to the consequences of her actions. She makes poor decisions, but rather than learning from them, she repeats the same mistakes. If she experiences heartbreak, she does not stop to reflect on what went wrong. She simply blames others and moves on, only to find herself in the same painful situations again. If she fails financially, she does not take time to understand better money management. She just complains about her circumstances, refusing to acknowledge how her own choices led her there. Every mistake becomes a cycle because she refuses to seek wisdom. She rejects the guidance of those who care about her. When elders or wise individuals offer her advice, she rolls her eyes, dismissing their words as outdated or irrelevant. She assumes she knows better, despite her life showing otherwise. She ignores the counsel of her parents, mentors, and even scripture, choosing instead to follow her emotions or the latest trends. But wisdom does not come from doing whatever feels good in the moment. It comes from seeking understanding, listening to experience, and applying knowledge. A woman who refuses to learn will never grow beyond her current state, because growth requires humility, and she has none. A foolish woman also ignores warning signs. Even when she senses that something is wrong, she pushes forward blindly. She does not pause to evaluate situations carefully, nor does she take time to pray for direction. Instead, she rushes into relationships, commitments, and decisions without considering the long-term effects. She does not listen to those who try to warn her, believing she is in control. But life has a way of humbling those who refuse to seek wisdom. Eventually, the consequences of her actions will catch up with her, and by the time she realizes her mistake, it will often be too late to undo the damage. Her refusal to learn also affects her reputation. People do not respect someone who constantly makes poor choices and refuses to grow. Employers see her as unreliable. Friends see her as stubborn, and loved ones see her as someone who cannot be reasoned with. She isolates herself from wisdom, thinking it makes her strong, but in reality it makes her weak. A wise woman understands that there is always more to learn, always room to grow, and always a need for guidance. But a foolish woman remains trapped in her own ignorance, never realizing that her refusal to learn is the very thing holding her back. A foolish woman is not defined by her circumstances, but by her choices. She ignores wisdom, surrounds herself with the wrong people, refuses to take responsibility, and repeats the same mistakes without learning. She believes she knows best, yet her life tells a different story. One of struggle, broken relationships, and missed opportunities. But the good news is that wisdom is available to anyone who seeks it. A woman does not have to remain foolish. She can choose to listen, to grow, and to change. She can humble herself and learn from those who have walked the path before her. She can recognize that true strength comes not from stubbornness, but from the willingness to seek understanding. The difference between a foolish woman and a wise one is not intelligence, beauty, or status. It is the choice to embrace wisdom. Every woman has the opportunity to walk a different path, to leave behind foolishness and pursue knowledge, integrity, and growth. The question is, will she continue to reject wisdom, or will she open her heart to truth? The decision is hers to make, and the outcome of her life depends on it.